Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to go ahead and begin because we are in the middle of votes, which I think many of you know, and we have voted, I think, on the first vote. I assume the other committee members have, and so we will recess when the second vote is called, go vote, and then come back. So this is a hearing of the Senate Foreign Relations Subcommittee on Europe and Regional Security. It will now come to order. I'm delighted to have Ranking Member Johnson here with me, and we are very excited to hear what our witnesses have to say about the crisis in Georgia. Thank you both for being here. Given the nature of the hearing, where some of us will be in person and some of us will be virtual, we're going to do questions by seniority and work to accommodate all the members, whether they be virtual or in person. The purpose of today's hearing is to engage with our witnesses about the current situation in Georgia, to better understand how the United States can support a democratic resolution to the current political standoff. Georgia has come a long way in a relatively short period of time, as I think we would all agree. It's worked to establish and strengthen its democratic institutions. The path hasn't always been straight, but the overall trajectory has been positive. I had the honor of traveling with the ranking member of the full Senate Foreign Relations Committee, Senator Risch, to Georgia in 2012 to observe their elections when Georgia Dream took over as the ruling party. The election was notable for its peaceful transfer of power, which is critical to any democracy. And since that 2012 election, Georgia's democracy has been tested, but it's generally been strengthened and deepened. Georgia's also demonstrated a desire to join the European community. It's affirmed its desire to become a member of NATO, something that I have supported and continue to support. And as co-chair of the Senate NATO Observer Group, this is exactly the path that we want for new democracies. And there's bipartisan support in the Senate for this route for Georgia. But unfortunately, the situation facing Georgia today is a critical one, the resolution of which could either recommit the country to democracy or erode the efforts of many years. Now, while the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe has reported that the 2020 elections were, and I quote, competitive and administered efficiently despite challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic, it also emphasized the need for election reform, which I urged the Georgian government to undertake with expediency. It's not enough to hold an election that meets the threshold of legitimacy. Democratic elections must have robust mechanisms in place to resolve disagreements, mechanisms that are seen as fair by all participants in the democratic process. The United States has long been a friend and ally of a free and democratic Georgia, and this remains the case today. But that important relationship is dependent on Georgia's commitment to strengthening the institutions of democracy. And just to be clear, Georgia's commitment to democracy must be demonstrated through the actions of all Georgians, whether they are in the government or the opposition. So it's imperative that the government takes steps to ensure an independent judiciary and to work with all opposition parties to find a negotiated resolution to this crisis. We know that a truly democratic country must be responsive to the will of the people, but a successful democracy also needs to function and address the needs of its citizens. And right now, given the current impasse in Georgia, the only party who's winning is Russia. Russia thrives from disorder and chaos, and every day that members of the opposition sit in jail is a victory for Russia. Every day that Georgian parliament seats are empty is a disservice to the people of Georgia and a victory for Russia. That's why I'm surprised and disappointed that all parties have allowed the current crisis to last so long. And today I will call on both sides, all sides actually, as we think about the two major parties and the other parties who are not in power, to put aside short-term political interests, to instead look to the strengthening and perseverance of Georgian democracy. I hope this hearing will provide better clarity on how the United States can assist our ally, Georgia, to fulfill its democratic goals and solidify the representation of the values its people hold. I look forward to the testimony of our distinguished witnesses and to hearing your perspective on this important topic. Now I'd like to turn to Ranking Member Johnson for any opening remarks.